Welcome back to Hardball and the Politics Fix. Our roundtable tonight, MSNBC political analyst Mike Barnicle and Michelle Bernard, and the Salon's Joan Walsh. We have to talk with Mike first of all here. I want to talk a little bit about Ted Kennedy. We watched him get in that car this afternoon, the SUV. He looked okay, heading back to work. He's going to go back to the Senate while he gets these tests, and he's back to work for a while. We'll see what the prognosis leads to. But what do you make of his priorities now that he has a critical situation facing him and the rest of his life, I guess?
Yeah, I think in the rest of his life, that's very aptly put. I think you're going to see an even more passionate advocate for the poor, an even more passionate advocate for educational programs, GI benefits, college tuition. You're going to see an even more passionate advocate against the war in Iraq. I don't think there'll be a wasted moment or a wasted tone of voice from Ted Kennedy on the floor of the United States Senate or anywhere else for as long as he rides this terrible disease out.
Joan Walsh, your thoughts about this? There he is coming out of the hospital with Cara behind him and Caroline Kennedy and his son Patrick, and I think I saw Ted there as well, his other son. What do you make of this man's plans now?
You know, I can't judge his plans. Certainly, he's got such a tremendous legacy as a fighter for the poor and for labor and for everybody who's been excluded, that if he wanted to retire, he would have his legacy. So he doesn't have to work, but I expect him to work. And I think, you know, he's probably going to spend some time devoting himself to electing a Democratic president and a Democratic Congress, because that is really the only way at this point to get action on things like health care that are his priorities, because we do have gridlock at this point.
Well, I would make one prediction. I never forgot in Atlantic City watching it on television. I think I was in Ocean City nearby when Bobby Kennedy went to the podium of the Democratic Convention in Atlantic City in 1964 and gave that speech right from Romeo and Juliet. I have to tell you, that was one of the great moments in history of politics. I think we might see another one of those moments in Denver at the end of August.
Definitely.
Ted Kennedy.
I think he will be there in Denver. I think whatever he says about the Democratic Party will be a momentous occasion. But I also expect that we're going to see him taking on the national debate on about cancer. You know, we played a lot of clips yesterday about some testimony and talks that he gave recently dealing with the war against cancer. And if there's a more, there probably cannot be a better spokesperson right now for the nation really lodging a war. We've seen Nancy Brinker, you know, chairman of the Susan Komen Breast Cancer Foundation, Lance Armstrong, and now Teddy Kennedy, I think is in the right position to be a spokesperson on how we fight this battle.
Hey, yeah, Mike, it seems like, go ahead, Michael, your thought.
Well, you know, it's very interesting that you recall that moment in Atlantic City in 1964 with the wave of emotion and the wave of applause that washed over Robert Kennedy that evening just prior to his speaking. And we all remember the speech, at least those of us of a certain age. And I think one of the key things in this political year of ours is Ted Kennedy's choice to endorse Barack Obama. And you can indeed see him in Denver giving a similar speech to that of Robert Kennedy in 1964, because the Obama endorsement from Ted Kennedy, I think, embodied a lot. I think Obama embodies a lot of what Edward Moore Kennedy sees in the legacy of his family and the things that both his brothers tried to do and the things that he has fought to do.
Torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans. We'll be right back with a roundtable for more of the Politics Fix. You're watching Hardball on MSNBC.
Oil and natural gas powered the past.
We're back with the Politics Fix. I got to go to Joan Walsh because you carry a torch for greatness. You are such a passionate reporter. What would Hillary Clinton want to do were she in charge of the western part of the universe between now and August? What would she like to do with her power? And she has enormous power.
You mean in terms of keeping her candidacy going, or support?
Well, she could say, let me just speculate, she could say, I want to be vice president, make it clear. She could say, I don't want to be vice president, make it clear. She could make it clear she's not too happy with the winner of this campaign. She's not happy with the way it was decided. She could call a protest. What? I mean, she can do anything she wants.
She can do anything she wants, and I don't speak for her. I don't see her taking this to the convention, but it's possible. That was a feisty speech down in Florida, so it is possible. I see her playing out these last primaries and counting the votes and counting the money and taking calls from her supporters on June 4th before she makes a decision. I don't think she wants to be vice president, particularly, Chris, but I think it's got to be something that Obama considers, and if he were to offer it to her, I think she'd have to take it. But I don't think she's there yet.
Suppose, Michael, she asked for all the powers now held by Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
That kind of vice president, that would be pretty attractive to a mortal.
Yeah, you know, it makes no sense for Barack Obama to offer her the vice presidency or to have her accept the vice presidency. What that does, despite Senator Clinton's great abilities, despite her great following, it makes Barack Obama ordinary. It makes him something that he has tried not to be throughout the course of his campaign. You know, if Senator Clinton were really thinking about the next 2 or 3 months, one of the things she might want to do is fly up to Hyannisport this weekend and talk to Ted Kennedy about what he learned from 1980, how to lose, when to get out.
Yeah.
But with all due respect, Mike, you know, I think Obama's going to have to learn to be a little bit more ordinary. You know, he got another shellacking in Kentucky because he didn't campaign there. Like they say about the lottery, you can't win if you don't play.
Yeah, well, he's not going to win there in November either, Joan.
Well,
I mean,
but
Barack
still,
Obama,
he's got an Appalachia problem.
All of this stuff. I mean, we treat like poor white people like lab rats, you know, in the media. We talk about them as if we're anthropologists. I mean, here's the deal on Barack Obama and those people. If he goes to central Pennsylvania, Chris's home state this fall, Ohio this. You know, all he has to do is tell him.
I've been a poor white person on occasion. Thank you, Mike Monaco, for looking out for me. Michelle Bernard and Joan Walsh. Right now it's time for the Race for the White House with David